Kayla Jenkins was the bride every girl envied. Marcus Reed was the husband every guy respected. But behind the vows and velvet cake, one secret turned their honeymoon into a homicide and left a small town asking how love turned lethal. Kayla Jenkins was the kind of girl folks in town said had it all: looks, charm, and a smile that could melt steel. She grew up in a sleepy Georgia suburb where everybody knew everybody, and drama traveled faster than Wi-Fi. When she got engaged to Marcus Reed, the local golden boy with a steady job and a spotless rep, people thought it was a match made in heaven. But behind the filtered selfies and Pinterest boards, Kayla was sitting on a ticking time bomb. The wedding was straight outta a country music video, barn venue, mason jar cocktails, and a guest list full of church folks and high school friends. Kayla wore a lace dress that hugged her curves just right, and Marcus looked sharp in his tailored suit. But while the crowd was clapping and snapping pics, Kayla's mind was somewhere else. She was pregnant, and the baby wasn't Marcus's. She'd found out just 2 weeks before the big day. Took the test in her best friend's bathroom and nearly passed out when the second line showed up. Her heart dropped. She knew exactly who the father was: Trey Dawson, her ex-boyfriend. The one she swore she'd cut off for good. But one night, one mistake, and now she was carrying his child. Kayla didn't tell Marcus. She figured she'd ride it out, maybe claim the baby came early or fudge the timeline. She was scared, cornered, and desperate to keep her perfect life intact. But secrets like that don't stay buried. Not in a town where gossip spreads like wildfire and everyone's got a cousin who works at the clinic. The wedding went off without a hitch. But the honeymoon? That's where the fairy tale turned into a nightmare. And Kayla's secret? It was about to come back swinging. Trey Dawson wasn't just Kayla's ex. He was the ghost she couldn't shake. They'd been wild back in the day. Fast cars, late nights, and fights that ended in makeups that never lasted. He was the kind of guy your mama warned you about: tattoos, temper, and a rap sheet that read like a mixtape. When Kayla finally cut him off, everyone thought she was done for good. But Trey had a way of creeping back in. 2 months before the wedding, Kayla ran into him at a gas station. She was stressed, tired, and vulnerable. One thing led to another, and boom, one night, one mistake. She told herself it didn't mean anything, just old flames flickering out. But Trey didn't see it that way. He thought it was a sign, a second chance, and he wasn't about to let her walk down the aisle without reminding her who came first. Trey started texting her. Not sweet stuff, more like threats wrapped in charm. "You sure that baby's his?" Bet Marcus wouldn't like the truth. Kayla panicked. She blocked his number, deleted the messages, tried to move on. But Trey wasn't done. He had screenshots, a voicemail, even a pic of them together from that night. He kept it all like ammo, waiting for the right moment to blow it up. Kayla begged him to stay quiet. She offered money, promised to disappear. But Trey liked control. He liked knowing she was scared. And deep down, he liked the chaos. He didn't crash the wedding, didn't show up with drama. He just sat back and watched, knowing the truth was tucked inside her like a ticking bomb. And that bomb, it was about to go off. Marcus had no clue. But Trey? He was already lighting the fuse. After the wedding, Kayla and Marcus hit the road for a low-key honeymoon in the Tennessee woods. No fancy resorts, no beach selfies, just a rented cabin, some wine, and a plan to unplug. Marcus thought they were starting fresh. Kayla thought she had time to figure things out. But secrets don't chill, just cause you're off-grid. The cabin was quiet, surrounded by trees and fog. No cell service, no neighbors. Just the two of them and a week to play house. Kayla packed light, but she forgot one thing: her prenatal vitamins. Left them in her purse, tucked under her makeup bag. Marcus found them on day 2 while looking for bug spray. He didn't say anything right away, just stared at the bottle like it was a grenade. That night, Kayla acted normal. Cooked dinner, laughed at his jokes, even cuddled up by the fire. But Marcus was somewhere else. His mind was racing. He knew she hadn't mentioned anything about a baby. And the math wasn't matching. They hadn't been intimate enough for it to be his. Something was off. While Kayla slept, Marcus went through her phone. She deleted most of the texts, but missed a few. One from Trey: "You sure you want to marry him with my kid in your belly?" Another: "Don't forget who was there first." Marcus read them twice. Then again. His hands started shaking. His chest got tight. He didn't scream, didn't cry, just stared at her sleeping face like he didn't recognize it anymore. By morning, everything had changed. Marcus wasn't the same man who walked into that cabin. Something inside him snapped. The betrayal, the lies, the baby, it all hit like a freight train. And in that silence, with no one around for miles, he made a decision that would turn their honeymoon into a crime scene. Marcus didn't speak a word the next morning, just moved around the cabin like a ghost, cold, quiet, calculated. Kayla tried to act normal, but something felt off. His eyes didn't look at her the same. His touch was gone. Breakfast sat untouched. The silence was louder than any scream. By noon, the weather turned. Rain started tapping the windows, and fog rolled in thick. Kayla went outside to clear her head, maybe take a walk through the woods behind the cabin. She didn't know Marcus was watching her from the porch, fists clenched, mind spinning. The betrayal had sunk deep. He wasn't just hurt, he was humiliated, played. And in his head, there was only one way to fix it. No one heard the first hit. No one saw the struggle. The trees swallowed the sound. Marcus snapped. No yelling. No warning. Just rage. Pure, blind rage. He beat her with whatever he could grab. A rock, a branch, maybe even his bare hands. It wasn't quick. It wasn't clean. It was personal. When it was over, Kayla lay crumpled in the mud, barely recognizable. Marcus stood over her, soaked in blood and rain, breathing heavy. Then he dragged her body deeper into the woods, wrapped it in a blanket from the cabin, and dumped it in a shallow creek like trash. No ceremony. No goodbye. He walked back to the cabin, cleaned up, packed his bag, and drove off like nothing happened. Told everyone Kayla stayed behind to clear her head. Said she needed space. Played it cool. But her parents knew something was wrong when she missed her weekly check-in. She never missed those. Ever. The cops were called. Marcus kept his story tight. But the woods don't lie. And soon, the truth would crawl out of that creek and shake the whole town to its core. 3 days after Marcus rolled out of that cabin like nothing happened, a hiker stumbled on something that didn't belong. It was early morning, fog still hanging low, and the trail was quiet. That's when he saw it. Blanket half submerged in a shallow creek, edges stained dark red. At first, he thought it was trash. Then he saw the foot. Kayla's body was twisted, face down, half covered in mud and leaves. Her skin was pale, her wedding dress shredded. The creek barely had a current, but it carried enough blood to stain the rocks downstream. Her skull was fractured, her hands bruised. It wasn't just a murder, it was rage written in flesh. The cops sealed off the area fast. News spread like wildfire. Small-town folks don't need much to start talking, and this was gasoline on gossip. Everyone had a theory. Some blamed the ex. Some said Kayla ran off and got caught up in something dark. But the autopsy told the real story. She was 8 weeks pregnant. And the baby? DNA confirmed it wasn't Marcus's. It was Trey's. That detail flipped the whole case upside down. Suddenly, the fairy tale wedding looked like a setup. The honeymoon cabin? A trap. And Marcus? He wasn't grieving. He was hiding. Kayla's parents were shattered. Her mom couldn't even speak at the press conference. Her dad just stared at the reporters like he wanted to burn the world down. They'd trusted Marcus. Loved him like a son. Now they were burying their daughter in a closed casket. The town turned cold. Marcus kept his head down, but whispers followed him everywhere. Kayla's friends started posting old texts, hinting at trouble. Trey went silent. And the cops? They were already digging into Marcus's story, looking for cracks. Because the woods don't lie. And Kayla's body had started talking. Marcus thought he was slick. Thought deleting a few texts and scrubbing his call log would keep the cops off his trail. But digital footprints don't fade easy, especially when you're sloppy with rage. The detectives weren't buying his story from the jump. Too clean. Too rehearsed. And when they pulled his phone records, the cracks started showing. One message stood out like a neon sign in a blackout. She lied. I fixed it. Sent at 2:17 a.m. the night Kayla died. It was deleted, but not gone. Forensics pulled it from the cloud, like pulling bones from a grave. That one line flipped the whole case. It wasn't grief, it was confession. GPS data showed Marcus left the cabin around 3 a.m., drove 40 miles south, stopped at a gas station off Route 9. Security cam caught him stumbling in. Hoodie pulled low, scratches on his face, blood on his sleeve. He bought a pack of smokes and a Red Bull. Didn't say a word. Just paid and dipped. But the footage didn't lie. Back at the cabin, cops found signs of a struggle, mud tracked inside, broken glass, a ripped blanket. Marcus had tried to clean up, but missed the details. Kayla's hair was stuck in the fireplace grate. Her phone was hidden under a floorboard. And the blood? It was in the drain, the sink, even the wood grain. Trey was questioned, but his alibi checked out. He was working a night shift at the garage, clocked in and on camera. He might have stirred the pot, but he didn't swing the bat. All roads led back to Marcus. The DA moved fast. Charged him with second-degree murder and destruction of evidence. The town was shook. Kayla's friends flooded social media with tributes and rage. And Marcus? He was about to face the music, in a courtroom packed with people who once called him family. When Marcus Reed walked into court, he didn't look like a killer. Clean shave, fresh suit, eyes low. But the room was packed with people who used to call him bro, neighbor, even son-in-law. Now they just stared like he was a monster in disguise. The trial kicked off fast. No delays. No mercy. Prosecutors came in swinging. They laid out the timeline, the texts, the GPS, the blood trail. They showed the gas station footage, the deleted message. She lied. I fixed it. And the forensic evidence from the cabin. Every detail painted Marcus as a man who snapped. A man who couldn't handle betrayal. A man who turned his honeymoon into a homicide. Marcus pled not guilty. Said Kayla was depressed. Said she ran off and got hurt. Even tried to pin it on Trey, claiming the ex had motive and history. But Trey had an airtight alibi. Clocked in, on camera, and nowhere near the woods. The jury didn't flinch. Kayla's family sat front row every day. Her mom clutched a photo of her daughter in that wedding dress. Her dad never blinked. Friends testified. Neighbors cried. The courtroom felt like a funeral with fluorescent lights. After 2 weeks of testimony, the verdict came down hard. Guilty of second-degree murder. 35 years. No parole. No appeal. Marcus didn't cry. Just nodded like he knew it was coming. Outside, the town was buzzing. News vans. Hashtags. Candlelight vigils. Kayla's story went viral. Her parents launched a foundation for domestic violence victims. Her name became a warning about secrets, control, and how love can turn lethal. The cabin was torn down. The creek dried up. But the story? It stuck. In every whisper, every headline, every girl who second-guessed her wedding vows. Kayla Jenkins wasn't just a bride. She became a symbol. And Marcus? Just another man who couldn't handle the truth.